Morning, everyone, and welcome to From Darkness to Love and Light. Today is Father's Day, and sorry, I have headphones on and I don't think they're working. I don't even know if this mic is working. I keep having problems with this mic. It's actually a new one now that I've got, but I think it might be working looking at the lines that are moving across the studio thing. Anyway, so today is Father's Day, and this day means a lot of different things to me. I have my incredible husband, John, who is a father of two boys, and has just always been such a good father to them. And also, he's 5.5 years older than me. And it's almost like he's my husband, but he almost has always been like a father figure in a sense. Not a father figure, but taking care of me like a father. Like he's just, I'm a little girl kind of thing. And he's always taking care of me. It's just the sweetest thing. It's just, kindness. So for Father's Day, I just wish him just nothing but the happiness and joy. Because this is a tough Father's Day for him too. And I'll explain that in a sec. But Father's Day also, when I think back about my father, my relationship with him was not good. But, he was here for a reason. It's part of my life, part of my journey. And I think everything that happened with him is something that made me be the person that I am today. And I think, a lot of the stuff that went on in my life with him just made me stronger, even though I thought I wasn't really that strong. I think just proving to him that I am better than he gives me credit for or what have you, just made me a stronger person. And so in that respect, I guess I can look at him and just say thank you, for that. But the really big thing about today, and specifically today, because it's June 16th, Father's Day. And Father's Day doesn't always land on June 16th, but today is 22 years since my mom passed away. And exactly on this day, on Father's Day, 22 years ago. And so I wrote a little something this morning, and this might trigger some people, and I don't want to hurt anybody in what I'm going to share today. I just want to be able to share this with you so that you can have hope in knowing that you can kind of move forward. I think after my mom passed away, I was the only girl in the family. So there was my mom and dad, my brother, who is 2.5 years younger than me, and then my husband and my two boys. So our first Christmas without my mom was really tough on me because I was the only female, right? And it's sort of like up to me to sort of make things go well for Christmas or what have you. And I just kind of remember that first year, like just saying, okay, I'm going to buy all the boys like jammy bottoms or whatever, and just like try to make it special and the best we can, without mom being here. And, but I do remember distinctly the month before Christmas, all of a sudden I kept seeing the numbers 111, 1111 every single way, every single place I looked. If I was on the road as a salesperson, so I was out a lot. And maybe that's why it was even more overwhelming, because I literally was going crazy seeing these numbers 111 and 1111 everywhere. So much so that I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, is something going to happen on January 11th? Like the first month, the 11th day? There's got to be some sort of significance. And I didn't know about angel numbers at all at that time. And finally, I guess I looked up on the computer about the numbers 111, and I was like, oh my God, it's my mom. She's trying to send me a message to say everything is going to be okay and that she's with me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And so as soon as I realized what was going on, I see the numbers all the time. 1111 is kind of quieting down a little bit for me, but it's whenever something really serious or really important or stressful or whatever the case might be comes up in my life and I really need support, it's always there. 1111's always there. And yeah, so it's pretty crazy. But anyway, on this day, so I'm going to tell you a little story about what happened. So as I say, 22 years ago today, my mom passed away, and we got a call from my dad saying that she didn't have long. And so actually, I think I just remembering this now, my husband's parents were actually here that day. And we were like, okay, we got to go. We got to go. So they left. They were heading home, I think, that day anyway, back to Montreal. But my mom and dad lived in Louisiana. And so it wasn't just like, she was around the corner or anything like that. There was like a lot of stuff that we had to do to kind of just pick up and go. And I literally had the bags packed, had the kids, everything that they needed. We went to the mall and went to the currency exchange place and got American money. And we were on the road within an hour. And I was actually, because I was in sales at that time, I had a cell phone and I had brought it with me. My dad knew my cell phone number. So we were driving along, and I think it was like maybe about an hour or so into our trip. We stopped at like a rest stop on the side of the road, and like a place where you can get gas and food and all that stuff, and got the kids some food. And when we came out, John looked at me, and I was like, oh, no, can't be. He's like, honey, I'm sorry, she's gone. I'm like, just no way. Just did not want to believe it. I needed to get there to see her. And, oh God, it was just terrible. And so my dad, I think I called him back. I can't really remember. I must have called him back. Because then I know he had said, if you want to see her, you have to get here by such and such a time, because they're not going to do an embalming on her. So they have to do cremation like really quickly, and they can only keep the body out for so long. And I'm like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, okay. So we drove again, and then we're like, okay, well, we literally have to drive through the night because in order for us to get there in time so that I could see her. And I'm just kind of remembering all this. I wrote this stuff down this morning, and just like some points about because it was 22 years ago, but geez, things are just coming back to me. Anyway, so I was like, okay, we're going to have to drive through the night. And so we drove for a couple more hours, and then we stopped. I remember stopping and getting a blanket or blankets for the kids for the car so that they could sleep. I mean, I must have had some stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. But anyway, I remember stopping and getting blankets. I remember that. And so we just drove, and we drove through the night. And so this is the really hard part for me. And as I said, my mom lived in Louisiana. The following year, after she passed away, Blake Shelton came out with a song called "The Baby." And although it wasn't really exactly my connection with her kind of thing, I wasn't the baby. I was actually the oldest, but I was her only girl. So, I don't know. There were certain things that he said in the song that just was like, oh my God, it's almost like this song was written for me. It's just in sane. And I just want to share this because this is what happened. And it's so much of it is just so true. So in the song, I don't know if you know the song, but anyway, it says, where am I here? Come on home to Louisiana and come as fast as you can fly, because your mama really needs you and says she's got to see you. She might not make it through the night. The whole way I drove 80 so she could see her baby. And then she looked like she was sleeping, and my family had been weeping. By the time I got to her side, and I knew that she'd been taken, and my heart, it was breaking. I never got to say goodbye. I softly kissed that lady and cried just like a baby. I sang that in the wrong key, the wrong note, whatever. Doesn't matter. I actually didn't cry singing it. That's the first time in my life I have never cried singing that. And it literally was her. It looked like she was sleeping. She was lying there. And she was on a metal bed in a t-shirt nightie. No casket. And I was like, and my two boys were there. And like, they were like, God, they were, I think they were like 15 and 13 or somewhere around there. I can't even remember exactly right now. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so terrible. It was like this, it was just the most horrifying picture in my head. Like, I don't know why my dad didn't get a casket. Like, everything was just so minimal. It was heartbreaking. My mom was just such a classy, beautiful lady. And I think she would just have been so upset to know that she was in this position. And her grandkids, this is how they were going to see her for the last time. It was terrible. It was terrible for me. I can still see her there. I can still see her, and I just feel so bad that, it wasn't something more for her. But I did do something more because she ended up getting cremated, and I was still down in New Orleans. And I actually ended up with half of her cremated remains. And so I brought them back to Canada, and we got a tree, a memorial tree from my mom, because we had spaces at a cemetery, because my husband used to work at a cemetery. And so we had spaces that he had bought. And so she actually, her ashes are in the head of what was my space. And then we got a tree, and we got a plaque. So I did a celebration of life, and we played Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World, because, she lived in Louisiana for so long, and that just seemed like the perfect song for her to remember her by. And yeah, so what a huge trigger for me today, June 16th, and 22 years later. It still affects me. And I don't think that we ever, forget our moms or whatever, or our dads, obviously. But it just was something that, because it was Father's Day, I just wanted to really share that today. And I apologize for singing so in the wrong key and note, whatever the hell. Anyway, I'm going to flip the page, because this is the even harder part. Oh, God. Okay, so 3 years ago, for Father's Day, our son Ryan came over for a visit, and it was COVID, and we didn't really get to see him very much because we had little grandchildren, and he also had a daughter who he was estranged from. So now we're like talking about 3 different families, sort of thing. So just during COVID times, we were just trying to be as careful as we could with our grandkids, and especially because the littlest one was born in right at the onset of COVID, March 2020. So he was still pretty little. So we just wanted to be cautious. And so the first time I had seen Ryan for a while, I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, Rye, your eyes are so yellow. And they literally were the color of a yellow highlighter. And I remember saying to him, like, Ryan, that's your liver, sweetheart. And he's like, Mom, you're scaring me. And I was like, I know, baby, but I'm scared. I don't like this. This is not good. You need to get this checked out. But the thing with Ryan is that he had a lot of mental health issues. Like he had really bad agoraphobia. He had really bad, claustrophobia, and just leaving his house was just such a huge thing for him. He only lived like 5 minutes down the road from, not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes down the road from us, by car. And that was a challenge to get him just to our place. Just him leaving was just terrifying. And anyway, I ended up dropping the subject because it was making him more nervous and what have you. And so, we just went about our time and just chatted and stuff like that. And after he left, deep in my heart, I was like so scared and so nervous and what have you. But I kept in contact with him and I kept asking him, how you feeling? How is the yellow? Oh yeah, he had said that his belly was swollen and stuff like that. And so I had said, right, that I don't like the sounds of that, honey. But he wouldn't. I wanted to FaceTime or I wanted to video call or whatever, but he wouldn't do it. He always came up with an excuse as to why he wasn't available to do that or what have you. And he had told me that his eyes were no longer yellow and that the swelling in his belly had gone down. So his girlfriend had him convinced that it was his gallbladder or something. I don't know what made her a doctor. But anyway, so shrugged off the seriousness of it all. And so I don't know. I thought, okay, well, I mean, what am I supposed to do? He's a 35-year-old man. I guess I got to believe that he's telling me the truth when he's saying that that there's no more yellow in his eyes and his stomach has gone down. Anyway, well, so 6 months later, on December 6, 2021, Ryan passed away of severe alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. He used alcohol as a coping mechanism for all of his anxiety and stress and what have you. He didn't work because he just got to the point where he couldn't leave the house and he couldn't work. And so he drank all the time. And I never saw him again. Because of his age, the coroner came to the apartment when we were there, and I didn't see him because his girlfriend's mom says, Lynda, you don't want to go in there. He was in the bedroom, and I guess they had tried everything to revive him, and he was just hooked up to everything, and she's like, no, don't go in there. You don't want to see him. I think I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I think I would have freaked out even more. So we left before they took his body out. I don't think I could have handled seeing him taken out of the apartment in that way. And the coroner said that they had to do an autopsy because of his age. And yeah, it was determined that he had severe alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. And it's funny because I remember people saying to me, Some people said that's impossible. Somebody at 35 years old doesn't die from cirrhosis of the liver. Well, my son died of cirrhosis of the liver, so don't tell me that it's not possible. It is possible. And the next time I saw him was at the funeral home in the casket that I had to choose, which was the worst thing I've ever had to do in my life. You know, when your baby is born, you buy a crib and you lay your baby down in that crib for the first time, and you just, you're so proud of what it looks like, his little room, and we made all of his blankets and his drapes and everything for his room. And now I'm having to lay my baby to rest. It was just, I was shaking. I remember shaking and just being like, I felt like I could barely stand up. And yeah, so a week later, actually, he's passed away on a Monday, and it was the Sunday following. It was the first time that we got to see him, and I saw him in the casket. And he literally just looked like he was sleeping. He was so skinny. Oh my God, he'd already, that's true, I forgot about that. He'd already lost weight from the last time I had seen him to the time I saw him again in June. And he had said that he was just eating better and what have you. And his girlfriend, when I had said that, she was like, I knew you were going to say that. And it's like, well, my son's lost a lot of weight and his eyes are yellow. Of course I'm going to say something. What the hell? But yeah, he had lost even more weight. So he was so skinny lying there. And it literally looked like he was sleeping. Just like the Blake Shelton song, looked like he was sleeping. It was like, I just wanted him to wake up. And I think I remember saying, Rye, please, honey, please just wake up, please. But of course, he wasn't going to wake up, So, I'm sharing this, as I say, because Father's Day is just not always going to be easy for many people. Many people have had great relationships with their fathers, and they miss them terribly if they've passed on. Some people have had terrible relationships with their fathers. This day is a hard one for me. And if you're having a hard time today, I needed to let this out. I needed to let this go. I do not want to ruin this day for my younger son or for my husband, because they deserve so much more. But I needed to get this off of my chest, because I need to share these stories so that they can help. And knowing that I have survived and I'm in a place where I am growing. And I know Ryan would be so proud. I'm doing a podcast. Are you kidding me? Ryan would be like, oh my God, Mom, that is freaking amazing. He would be so proud. He was a musician and did all kinds of track stuff or whatever on the computer and stuff. So he'd be so blown away that I could actually even figure this shit out. And I see Rye, ever since he passed away. I don't get 11:11 like I did with my mom, but I get 4:44 or 44. Every time I look at the clock, oh my God, it's 11:44 right now. I'm just looking at the clock. It literally is 11:44 a.m. Are you freaking kidding me? Wow. I literally can't believe that. Yes, I can believe it, because that's my mom and my son. They're both with me, and they're always with me. And that's the thing that you have to we have to understand that we have to continue to live our lives. I have his daughter who I think I said he was estranged from, and she spends so much time with us, and I'm so blessed and so grateful that we have her in our lives. And I'm here to do whatever I can to help her prosper in life and know that she's loved and, what have you. And yeah, and Ryan shows up as a cardinal. While I was writing out some stuff this morning, this cardinal, it was in our backyard and he was chirping like so crazy. It was amazing. Yeah, I think that's it, you guys. But I just want you to know I love y'all. We can get through the hard times no matter how hard they are. We all have different, stories in our lives, but just trust in yourself and allow yourself the time and space and do whatever you need to do to make you feel better. And there is no time period in grief. Can I just please say that? There is no getting over it. There is no, it's been 1 year, it's been 2 years, it's been whatever. It doesn't freaking matter how long it is. Grief is grief. And if you've loved someone so deeply, you don't just stop loving them after a year because they're no longer here. That's bullshit. You grieve as long as you want to grieve. You cry whenever you need to cry, whatever. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise and tell you that you should be over it. And if people are like that in your life, tell them to get lost. You don't need that crap. Okay? You grieve as long as you need to grieve, and don't feel bad for laughing. Don't feel bad for doing whatever the heck you need to do in your process. It's not easy, but you do get stronger. You will have bad days and you'll have great days, and it's just different. Life is different. But I think you cherish things a little bit more too when you have a loss like this. Anyway, I feel like I'm just babbling now, but I just wanted to share this story with you today. And I love you all, and thank you for listening to my little podcast, From Darkness to Love and Light. And I am sending you all so much love and light today and always. Have a wonderful day. And for all the fathers that are celebrating today, I celebrate you. I wish you all the happiness and health on this Father's Day and always too. Bye for now, everyone. Thanks for listening.